Welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by Motivate Training and Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 48 of the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Belinda Risley, and today I'm joined by Rachelle Wilson. She's passionate about all things motorsport. She's a motorsport competitor and an advocate for increasing female participation in motorsports. Rachelle is director of not one, but two boards, one being the director of Australian Racing Drivers Club and the other for Karting New South Wales as a marketing director. She's also the creator and program director of the Women's Motorsport Development Program, which you're going to hear lots about today. And in her spare time, she has recently started Racetricks Motorsport to help grow the community of women involved in all genres of motorsport. Racetricks will be hosting networking events throughout Australia and will have merchandise for sale for females involved in karting, cars, bikes and boats. We thought it would be a fantastic idea if she possibly launched it at the upcoming Motorsport Industry Conference, which will be held in November this year in Melbourne. If you guys haven't filled out your expression of interest, there'll be a link in today's show notes. We'd love to hear who you'd love to hear from, as in speakers, what kind of exhibitors you would like, the topics you would like covered, how much you're willing to pay, and of course, if there's any other locations. So please head to today's show notes to get that link to fill in the survey for the Motorsport Industry Conference. Let's get started with today's show. Rachelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We've got a brand new segment that we're going to start off with today, the Fast Four, sponsored by Plus Fitness. So, number one, favourite racetrack?
Sydney Motorsport Park, GP circuit.
Number two, pineapple on pizzas.
Absolutely.
I think so too. Question three, Ford or Holden?
This one I'm torn. Originally a Holden fan, but I'm a massive Scotty McLaughlin fan. So,
there you go.
Bit of both.
Right. A bit like me. And number four, fruit or vegetables?
Veggies.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for participating in our new segment. Now, let's learn a little bit more about you, Rachelle. How did you develop your love for motorsports?
I actually don't know. I don't know where it came from. My family weren't involved in motorsport. I grew up in an all-girls family.
Wow.
I honestly don't know where it came from. It developed in my 20s.
Yeah.
And then I just became addicted to V8 supercars.
Oh, wow. So this is another great story. Personally, we interviewed Tanea McLeod, who pretty much herself volunteered her way into her business that she started today from Cloud Media.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I mean, you've got lots of hands in different pies at the moment. But let's start off. You're the director of Australian Racing Drivers Club. What does that tell involved, and how did you even get to that point?
So I'm on the board of Australian Racing Drivers Club that powers Sydney Motorsport Park. So they put a call out in 2017. They had two appointed positions available, and they were wanting to fill those with two females. Mm-hmm. They wanted to broaden their diversity on the board. So they put out a list of criteria of people that they were looking for, and I ticked off a few of those. So we went through an application process, and I was appointed in October 2017.
Fantastic. So how did you get to that point? Like, from going from a fan to becoming on a board of directors, what was your kind of story in between?
And that happened in the space of about 6 years. So as I said, massive fan of V8 supercars, and I was, going to events, and I was at Homebush one year, I think it was in 2012, and Cam's had a stand there in the dome when they had the car displays, and they had a display for a come and try. They were advertising come and tries at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Yeah,
and I think it was a crazy price, like $30 or something like that, like per person. And I had absolutely no idea that anybody can take their road registered car to the track and compete. Mm-hmm. Not only can you take your car and do track days, but I didn't know that you could compete. I didn't even know the world of grassroots motorsport existed. I didn't know that the world of car clubs existed. I had no idea. So went and signed up definitely. I couldn't throw my money at them fast enough, I don't think. And then in the January went to Sydney Motorsport Park. They were doing a super sprint. We had instructors with us on the South Circuit for half the day, and then we did the skid pan, like a Motorcana, for the rest of the day. At the time, I was driving my road car, which is a Subaru Liberty all-wheel drive with an electronic handbrake. So that didn't go well for the Motorcana. But the Super Street, I was just in my element, and I just absolutely loved it. So New South Wales Road Racing Club, who the Women's Motorsport Development Program is run through, had a stand there, and they were promoting women in motorsport. They were trying to get an all-girls team for a 6-hour regularity event in Wakefield in July that year. And again, I was talking to them, and I asked them who was there, what was in terms of numbers, like member numbers. And I said, who's number one? And they said, Mark Scaife. And so, that was my fangirling moment. But with supercars, I was a massive Scaife fan. Those listening, don't hold it against me if you don't like him, but I still love him. And so, again, couldn't throw my money at them fast enough and joined New South Wales Road Racing Club and started competing. And then I think the next year I put my hand up to be on the committee of the club. So I was on the committee for a couple of years. I was membership officer, and then that is also how I created, or how the development program came about, because we were trying to, after we had the All Girls 6-hour team, the regularity team, and that went really well. And then we were attending other events. We were doing like Top Gear Festival and having displays, club displays at supercars and any other event we could have, and we kept trying to get girls to join up, and then they might have been interested at the time, but they'd never come to an event.
Yeah.
And I just thought, there's something wrong here. It's just not working. We're not breaking through. And I have a background in events and training, so I just pretty much coupled my passion and my skills and experience and knowledge, and I created the Women's Motorsport Development Program because I realised that it needed to be a progression.
Yes.
And there's so many different elements to competing in motorsport, and there's different disciplines as well. People like different things.
Correct.
So, and I realised, it's very intimidating for somebody that doesn't have anybody in their family that they've been involved in motorsport.
Yes.
So I developed, the Women's Motorsport Development Program out of that, and then that led me to applying for the board position. That's a really long answer.
No, it's a fantastic answer, because obviously it answered about how the concept about the program came along. So that's fantastic. So while we're talking about the Motorsport Development Program, tell us about what is the program and where is it held? And you've kind of gave us a little bit of insight, but go through the 10 steps.
Yeah, sure. So it's a 10-part program, and it runs over 4 months. It is the only program of its kind in Australia. We've just completed our 3rd year, which is just fantastic. So the program runs over 4 months. So we start with a meet and greet where the girls can meet some driver trainers, and they get to meet themselves. They get to meet past participants of the program. And we do a theory session as well, like a bit of a technical day. And at the start and at the end of the program, they do driver training days. Mm-hmm. So with professional race car drivers. Yeah. So this year we had Tim Brooke and Emily Duggan from the Toyota 86 series. Mm-hmm. And last year we had Barton Moore, world time attack champion, and Emily was part of the program as well last year. And then they also cover 4 motorsport disciplines. We do motorcar, hill climb, regularity, and super sprints. We have a basic car maintenance workshop. We do an officials training day, which I think is the most important part of the program, because you learn so much from being an official. You learn so much about driving on the track. Off the track is what you do on the track with being an official. And then they graduate the program by competing in a Cairns State Super Sprint round. So they go from majority of the girls have never been on the track before, and by the end of the program they're competitive in being able to confidently compete in a Cairns State Super Sprint round, and they know everything that they need to do before the event, car setup, everything. They understand supplementary regulations. Yep, they know exactly what to do to be able to compete in Cairns State Super Sprint without any intimidation whatsoever.
And that's because you've educated them throughout the 4 months? Correct,
yeah. So each part we do, there's a lot of learnings that go along with it, and they get mentors as well throughout the day or throughout the program, which also takes them through, what you do when you first arrive at the track, or if you want to change grid positions, if you have a problem on the track. So they all know, about Clark, what the Clark course does, and stewards and scrutineers and everything.
And who's the program targeted at?
It's all women, basically. They just need to be aged 14 and over.
Yep.
So the ages of our program do range from 14 to 55. So it's designed for people that have either never been on the track before and they want to get into motorsport, but they may not have known how to get into competing in motorsport.
Yep.
Or we've had a few girls that have done a few club track days, so say like MX5 club or track day club, but haven't taken it to that next competitive level. It's also aimed at them as well. Or we've had a couple of girls that have been competing in events, like a few events, but they've also learned, they've learned a lot and got a lot out of the program as well. But the main target for the program is for those that haven't competed in motorsport previously.
Fantastic. And Rachelle, can you talk us through what's the difference in the 4 categories you mentioned, the skid pan, motorcar, hill climb, super sprint?
Yeah, sure. So motorcar is classified as a non-speed event, where the others are classified as speed event. So they need a CAMS L2S license. So motorcar is, the motorcars that we do carried out on a wet skid pan. So, and they call them tests. So it's where you put out not really a track, but they put out witches' hats in a format, and you have a plan, and then they have to go and complete the course effectively around witches' hats. So it teaches them car control, mainly with the motorcar, and it's just a really fun and inexpensive motorsport discipline, because you don't need to wear a helmet, you don't need a race suit. You don't need to worry about race brakes, track like semi-slicks or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you can have passengers as well. So I generally laugh my way around the motor car and the passengers as well. And it's, so they're a really fun discipline and a cheap discipline of motorsport.
Yeah.
Then we have hill climbs, which is basically the fastest person up the hill wins. So they're a lot of fun as well. They are classified as a speed event though, so you need all the same apparel and meet the safety requirements as you do competing in circuit events. And so regularity, that is a discipline for consistency. So you don't need to be the fastest car on the track to win a regularity event. You need to be just the most consistent, and that means that you need to be in control of the car all the time. So you need to be braking at the same point, each corner, looking at your revs, changing gears at the same revs each corner, following the same driving lines each lap. So you nominate a time that you think you're going to hit each lap, and then you go out there and try and hit it, and then the closer you get to the time, the more points you get, and the person with the most points wins.
Fantastic. And are all these in your own car?
Yes, all in your own car. You can do them all in your road registered car. And super sprints it's basically, they're qualifying laps. So you're not out there racing cars that are on the track with you. There are cars out on the track with you at the time, but is all about getting that one fast lap. And the person with the fastest lap on the day wins that event.
Fantastic. And is that what you compete in yourself?
Yes, so I compete, in all those in all those events. So mainly super sprints, and we do regularity events as well. We have New South Wales Road Racing Club has a big 6-hour regularity event each year, which is a great event. It's a team event, so that's a lot of fun. And hill climbs as well, mainly do down at Huntley Hill Climb with Wollongong Sporting Car Club.
Fantastic. And Rach, why is this program the only one in Australia? Like, I'm always in Melbourne, and yesterday I was talking to someone, and they're like, oh, do they have it in Melbourne? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'll ask the lady who created the program tomorrow.
No, it is
franchising out or like running the program. Oh, obviously it's a lot of time for you and just stuff that you do. But has there been any interest from other states? I think it's such a fantastic program.
Yeah, definitely. We have had interest and questions from nearly every other state in Australia. It is a matter of, well, one, yes, I do this on a volunteer basis, so I don't think I have time to do it in other states. It's just a matter of setting it up and having the network available. We're very lucky with our relationships through New South Wales Road Racing Club and the relationships that they have with a lot of the other car clubs, and the support that we have is, why this program is successful. Yeah. Because they can see that the success of the program, that it's working, because they're getting to see the girls continue on competing after they've finished the program. One day, I don't know when, I would definitely love to be able to replicate it in other states. It's just, that time. I mean, then I've also had a lot of guys as well say to me, where's the guys program? Why can't we have a guys program? So again, that comes down to time in putting a program together. Because the guys can see the value in it as well.
Fantastic. And you've had a great success rate of the last 3 years. Have many of the females gone on to compete regularly, or what's kind of the next step after the course?
Yeah, so the next step after the course is them get as much track time as they can. Throughout the program, they generally work out what type of events they prefer to do, whether it is they have more alignment just with them personally in doing hill climbs or motorcarnas or the speed events with regularity, like the circuit events and super sprints. But quite a few of the girls have now gone on to purchase just track dedicated cars, and they're competing. One of the girls from last year is now coming second in the New South Wales Road Racing Club Championship. And won her class in the Cairns State Round last weekend. One of the girls a couple of the girls actually from the 2016 program have competed in the Victorian, gone down to Phillip Island and competed in the Victorian 6-hour event down there. So, they're doing really well.
Fantastic. Do you feel really proud when you hear the results of previous participants?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like a proud mama bear.
Yeah.
Definitely, very, very proud in what they're achieving and in going on to feel their, I guess, dreams and passion of competing in motorsport.
Yeah, it must be great just to see their confidence around a vehicle after the 10 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Their confidence that and that's one of the things I love about the program is just watching and seeing their confidence build. Like I had one lady that in the first part of the program this year, she was too scared to go out on the track without a driver trainer in the car with her. Mm-hmm. And she's now flying around the racetrack doing passing moves, and yeah, just to see the difference in her is just fantastic and just puts the biggest smile on my face.
Yeah, it would be very rewarding. Well done.
Thank you.
So the 2019 program has just wrapped up. We've got a dinner coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
When do the applications open for 2020?
So we have an expression of interest open at the moment, which people can go onto the website and register their expression of interest. And the website is wmdp.com.au, and that stands for Women's Motorsport Development Program. And what we'll be doing is the people that have registered an expression of interest, they will have first opportunity to register. And applications won't, or registrations won't open until either December or January, February next year. What we need to do is just wait till all the track dates and competition dates are set by everybody and all the tracks. So it's a big process that we go to, and it's a little bit like getting the stars to align in getting the dates set up. And because with this year's program, it covered 3 or 4 racetracks. It was Sydney Motorsport Park, Wakefield Park down at Goulburn, Pheasant Wood Circuit at Marulan, and also the Huntley Hill Climb down at Dapto. So once we have everybody's calendars, then we work it out, and then also getting our driver trainers availability as well. So, waiting till, the Sports at Ends calendar is set and the 86 series is set and things like that. So so it should be registrations all open in December or early next year.
Fantastic. And we'll put the link for the expression of interest into the show notes. So if anyone's interested to learn a little bit more, and I guess would it be beneficial for parents of drivers that have racing cars for them to try and get an insight into what their son or daughter goes through when they're competing?
Absolutely. Had a lady who competed previously, but her now son and her husband competes as well. She's done it. I've had, a wife in 2016 come and compete, and definitely they get a full understanding of, that full holistic view of what goes on at an event. So, definitely.
Fantastic. I need to stop saying that word today. So in your spare time, Rachelle, you are the marketing director of Karting New South Wales.
Yes.
So again, how did that role come about? Yes. Have you raced karts before?
No. So that came through or because of the Women's Motorsport Development Program. So previously I used to be on the Women of Australian Motorsport Committee, which was through CAMS. Yep. And a fellow committee member has a friend in the Endurance Karting Association, so TICA, and he approached her about getting more women. They wanted to get more women into karting. So so my friend, she said, no, you need to ring Rachelle, and she'll be the best person to speak with. So I was like, so before this, karting was definitely not on my radar.
Yeah.
So I spoke with the president of TICA, and I thought, okay, that's a great initiative that they're doing. So I put the call out to the program girls, and so then we fielded a team at a 6-hour. It was a baptism of fire, pretty much. First karting event, went up to Newcastle, and the girls competed in a 6-hour kart race. Yeah, it was a team event, and so I managed the team and helped them with that. I didn't drive myself. And then from that, Karting New South Wales heard about me and heard about the program, and they approached me and asked me to come on board. So I thought, sure.
And is that a full-time role or is that a...
So, okay, that's a board position role, so another volunteer role.
Yeah.
So we have a very small staff at Karting New South Wales, so we just, help them with the governance and strategic direction and, doing what we can. And I'm trying to help as much as we can from the marketing side to continue to help grow the sport of karting in New South Wales.
Yeah, because it's had just a separation at the moment from Karting Australia. And so it's just basically baby steps.
It is, yeah. There's a lot of work to do, but we're getting there. A lot of the foundation and the groundwork has been done. So, so getting all our, even just making sure all our systems and processes and trying to make it as easy as possible for all our karters and all our families to attend events.
So what is the big objective with Karting New South Wales? Are they wanting to get families back into grassroots karting, or what? Yeah,
absolutely. And then we'll also be looking at, doing a development program for juniors, and then as well for, I'll be focusing obviously on women in karting as well. But even our officials, supporting our officials and volunteers as well, but also really looking at that advocacy for karting as a sport. It's a fantastic sport for families. So, really just advocating as much as we can for the sport of karting.
I was going to say fantastic, so I had to stop there. Yes, when Karting New South Wales first came up, I've already put up my hand to do the junior driver development, obviously the off-track development stuff. So don't forget me.
No, not at all, not at all.
And then in your spare time, the other apparently getting married soon.
Yes, that is in a couple of weeks.
Is your fiancé involved in motorsports as well, or is he just very understanding?
Do you know, he wasn't into motorsport when we met.
Yeah.
He was into soccer and rock climbing.
Yes.
And the poor guy, I've converted him.
Yeah.
And
so have a choice.
So he competes as well. And then he was also involved in the committee of New South Wales Road Racing Club. He was the president for a couple of years and vice president before that for a couple of years as well. So he keeps telling me it's all my fault. And I'm happy with that. But he's the biggest supporter and advocate for the development program. So I couldn't do it without him. But he does keep saying to me, "Oh, my time's in the honeymoon, isn't it?" I'm like, yes, sorry about that. So after the wedding, we're off to Italy for a month, which I'm really, really looking forward to. Can't wait for that. I've never been. But the first 3 days of our honeymoon, we're officialing at the Formula One at Monza.
Of course you are. Every girl wants to do on her honeymoon.
Yes. So we wanted to go and say, no, we're officials. We should just go and official and we'll get better seats.
Yeah.
So the first 3 days, hopefully we won't have jet lag.
Yes.
We'll be spending orange overalls at the racetrack.
Nice. And then when you come back, you're going to be focusing on something a little bit more on a networking business.
I am, yes. So, yes, I wanted to launch it before we went away, but it just, I haven't had the time, unfortunately. Right. So what I've realised, and through my experience and over the last few years, is that motorsport is quite fragmented, and because our numbers are so low, like our participation rates for females in motorsport, it's now at 11%. A few years ago, it was 7%. So it is increasing, which is great.
Yeah.
But what I find is that with clubs, there's not enough females involved in the clubs to create that community for women in motorsport. And I find that's something that we, as females, as the creatures that we are, we like to be part of something and like to have that supportive community around us.
And understanding of what's going on.
Yeah. And that's another reason why the development program is a success, is because it's creating the the community amongst themselves. They're getting to meet like-minded women. They're in that safe space, which is important and part of the program. So I wanted to expand on that and create a networking, I'll host networking events and just create a community for women across all, the different genres of motorsport. So across karting, karts, cars, bikes or boats, it doesn't matter what form of motorsport you're in. Yeah. And try and create that networking community, that we can meet other women involved in the sport. And if a car club doesn't have, or a kart club or a bike club doesn't have, enough women involved to create that community, then there's another avenue to meet other like-minded women. So hopefully this one will be national. We'll be able to do some networking events, and then through that as well, have some merchandise so that, everyone's a race chick. If you're involved in motorsport, if it doesn't matter if you're a driver, if you're a rider, whether you're involved in admin, you're an official, you're, a mum, a support person or a sister, it doesn't matter. Yeah. If you're involved in motorsport, you can be part of the Racetricks community because we're all Racetricks.
And are these events going to be face-to-face or online? Or?
I like to do them face-to-face. Mm-hmm. I think there's no better way to meet other women in motorsport than over a glass of wine. So, yeah. So we'll, so I'll be looking at that when we, when we come back in October.
Well, maybe you can launch it at the Motorsport Industry Conference that looks like it will be definitely going ahead November 29 and 30 down in Melbourne.
Oh, fantastic.
So that will be on the Friday and the Saturday. So maybe we can launch it down there together.
That sounds very exciting.
Yeah. And then after all of that, Rachelle, what is your growing plan? What's the bigger picture for, will you still be Miss Wilson or are you changing your name on?
No, I'll be changing my name, so I'll be Rachelle Sterling. Look, my grand plan, one, it would be great if eventually we don't need the Women's Motorsport Development Program in its current state, that there's enough, that we're marketing motorsport in a way that everybody knows that you can take your road car, that you can bring your road car to the track, or how easy it is to get into motorsport, and there's no intimidation there because our numbers are higher, so it won't be that the male-dominated sport that it is now. So I think the grand plan would be to, I guess, expand the development program in its current state in some form, increase it in states. But for me, I mean, ideally I'd love to be able to be working in the motorsport or the automotive industry. Yes. Currently I'm operations manager and events manager, not involved in the motorsport industry. So that'd be great if I could tie my passion and my career together. That would be wonderful. But until then, I'll continue to volunteer as much as I can and help increase female participation.
I love it, Rachelle. We love you. You're doing sport, and thank you very much. Have you come across any challenges, I guess, working in such a male-dominant industry?
Not as such. I found that everyone has been very supportive. From the time I started. Mm-hmm. Initially, getting the program off the ground was a challenge because it was new and it was different. It was out of the box. It took a bit of convincing that it would work. So that was a bit of a challenge. I guess the biggest challenge was not knowing until I was in my mid-30s that this was available to me. Yeah. Personally, no real big challenges, no.
Great to hear. We're all here for the same purpose, which is...
That's it.
And so you're always looking for sponsors, obviously, for the Motorsport Development Program, whether it's financial or products or services. If people are interested in supporting the program, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, definitely. Always looking for sponsors, whether it is like a financial sponsorship or in kind, or even we've had some companies come on board and offering discounts for participants in the program as well. That is a way that people can support more women in motorsport. But yeah, there's a contact us page on the development program website, or they can send us a message via our Facebook page.
Awesome. As I said, all of the links for the Motorsport Development Program will be in the show notes. And the link to Racetricks Facebook page is up. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so Racetricks Motorsport. So it's kind of at the coming soon stage, but it's coming soon.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you very much today for your time, Rachelle. I loved this interview.
It's great. Me too.
Love supporting other women within the industry. Hopefully we'll, do some great things going forward, both together and on personal notes.
Yes, definitely. Sounds good. I think it's an exciting time.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at motivatetraining.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out and you'll go into a monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at motivatetraining.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at Motivate T. Until next time, take care.